a very successful program, and I guess that's why you're here. And you saw some of the fun things that Emily and Ann put together and the advisors put together so that you all can have a lot of fun. Let me ask you, how many of you are new to Santa Monica College? Okay. And I assume all of you have put in your application already, right? Who hasn't? You all observe the list. You can relax. I'm not here to lecture you. All right? We're here to have a talk. We want to get to know each other. Particularly, I want to know you. I know that I'm going to be doing most of the talking, so it's difficult. But I want to let you know that I just walked by the quad, and someone gave me a book on Mahatma Gandhi. And this is a celebration we have today on campus, and I think this will continue. And they're showing a film, and they're passing out free books on Mahatma Gandhi. So this is a good book to read. So we have all these programs ready for you this year, and this is the beginning, sort of the beginning of the academic year. And I guess you're all ready to tackle what is in front of you. So I want to come here to share some of my experiences with you, so that you can see there are actually a lot of similarities between what you're going through and what I went through. Let's start off by, how many of you have heard me talk before? Okay, so most of you have not heard me before. So I'm going to start off a little bit about myself. Now, many years ago, that's many years ago, I was a student in a community college like you. And it was a community college in Northern California. It's called Contra Costa College. And it's right outside of north of Berkeley. You know where Berkeley is? North of Berkeley by about 20 miles. And I went to the community college at that time because I was looking for what I want to do in life. You see, I arrived in the United States the year before. And I grew up. I was born and raised in Hong Kong. And
for Hong Kong. Hong Kong intro. How many from Hong Kong? Ready to get some?
Okay, all right. So you know what? And I went to high school in Hong Kong, and I was not very focused on education and studying. I found more interest in doing other things than putting in 10 hours a day studying, which was what was needed, what is needed if you want to get into a good university in Hong Kong. Because there are only like about one space for about 200 students who graduate from high school. I was not one of those, the one out of the 200. I was more with the rest of the 200 who didn't get in. But community college taught me so many different things, and it gave me the room to explore what I was interested in, to get interested in education for the right reason. It's not just somebody was telling me to study, but because I found the topics, I found the disciplines interesting. It was through the 2 years in community college that I did that. Now, I didn't even speak much English at that time. I spoke very little English at that time. And I had a chance in community college to learn English. I learned how to write properly. And English 1A was a struggle for me at that time, but I put a lot of time in it, but it helped me. It's one of those classes that helped me. I can look back at any one class that helped me most. That was the one. Okay. I spent a lot of time on that. I spent a lot of time learning how to speak English. I spoke to people who didn't speak Chinese or Cantonese, and I learned how to express myself. I watched TV shows, and I mouth after Johnny Carson every night. You don't know who Johnny Carson is. Johnny Carson is like the Jay Leno and David Letterman combined those days. And he had an interview show for an hour every night at 11:30 after the news. And I used to watch it religiously. And I found that I was learning not just the language, I always repeat what he says. You know, just like mouthing up, but I found it was helpful. And then I also learned about, at that time, the culture in the United States, which I was not very familiar with. And then after Contra Costa College, after 2 years there, I transferred to Berkeley.
Woo, go Berkeley. Yeah.
Go Cal.
Go Cal, go Bears.
Go Bears. The football team right now is lost. I think they lost the offensive team. So they went to the game last week. They lost 40-something to 3 to another team. That's not even rated nationally. So that's okay, because Berkeley's never been known for its football games anyway. So we'll let the USC and UCLA fight it out, and that's what they know for. I went to Berkeley. I went for 2 years. I finished my education at Berkeley. I did very well because really I attribute to the interest that was instilled in me when I went to community college. Because in community college, the difference I found out was that the classes were smaller, and I actually get called on to express my opinion. And the teacher was interested in answering questions that I had, and always the teacher was interested in making sure that I knew what I was studying, and the essence what was in the classes. Now, this is something that I was not very familiar with before. I was not familiar with that when I was going through all the years of education I had in Hong Kong, because every day I went to classes for 6 hours, but I just went through the motion, and the teacher gave me a lot of homework. But they really didn't care what I learned. But I found out, well, here, when I was in community college, the teacher was concerned about whether I actually learned the topics, learned the lessons that they were teaching. And I had a chance to interact with them, and they were willing to interact with me and making sure that I understood. And I remember in one class, my French teacher called me into his office. Monsieur Levy was eating his lunch. He said, "Come on in, let me chat with you for a while." He said, "I noticed that you have missed several classes. So it's important for you to continue to attend the classes, because language is one of those things that if you miss 1 or 2 classes, it'll affect you a lot." He didn't tell me that I have to attend the class. He was pointing out to me why I should do that. You know what? No one ever talked to me like that before, up to that point. And I find that really, really instructive and really, really helpful, because it's really up to me to decide whether I want to succeed or not. It was not my parents, it was not some teacher with a ruler or whip hanging over my head and said, "Okay, you gotta study." It's really it was up to me. So that was very helpful to me. And I think you are finding yourself in a similar situation, except you are in an even much better college than the one I went to. Because I know the faculty here, the advisors, many of them are here, they are all really dedicated to your education. And so you really need to take advantage of the situation you have there and go talk to them if you have a question, and ask them questions and participate in classes, in your class and in all your classes, and also participate in the activities that is being organized in the college.